What's up guys, welcome to another video. In today's video I will show you two phones that I got from a friend of mine who I know from school, who also gave me the S25G that I'm recording on right now, and a whole bunch of other phones, such as my HTC One M7, which I made custom. It has wide volume buttons and a wide SIM tray, but we'll probably talk about that in a different video. I'll probably make a little YouTube short about that because this is worth a video on its own. But we're here to talk about two different phones. But before we do that and I show them all, I do want to talk about what he gave me last week, which was a Samsung Galaxy S8. But I never ended up making a video about that because I just thought it wasn't worth it. Because it was completely gone, man. It was shot. It wasn't worth making a video about. It was just so broken, I ended up giving it back. It was so bad. So basically, I'd say a few months ago, I'd say shortly after summer vacation, which means it's somewhere around August, end of August, something like that. He gave me a Galaxy S8. Well, actually, I think it was before that, not sure, but I'd say a few months ago, he gave me a Galaxy S8, which he made out of spare parts that he had laying around, because he fixed up a Galaxy S8, but he still had spare parts laying around that he could make a, well, very junk condition S8 out of, which was a incredibly smashed display, but with perfect AMOLED, perfect, absolutely perfect, no burn-in, nothing, perfect AMOLED, but the display was super shattered. Probably one of the most shattered phones I've ever seen in my entire life. Like the worst condition display wise. Like the glass was just, so many pieces were falling off. The entire pieces of some part of the touchscreen were even falling off in the corner. It was really bad. It was worse than my A3 2016. Much worse than that phone. And I still have the A3 2016, but I digress. He gave that to me, and I owned it for a while, but the motherboard had issues. It would die constantly, and it wasn't really worth it. The motherboard was dying, and in order to get it back to work again, I'd have to put the heat gun over it. Yeah, for 2 minutes straight, every single week. Well, every single 2 days. It became worse and worse. It was probably the storage IC or the memory IC or something like that. Some important chip on the board that would make it boot loop. But if you did that, it would work perfectly. I did replace the battery because it was really bad. I did replace the battery with a S9 battery. Yes, I put a S9 battery in an S8. It was really funny, but the S9 battery actually did better. It had quite a lot better health, like in the 85% range compared to 66. It was really bad, the S8 battery. And I do still have the S9 battery right here. But yeah, he gave that to me, and eventually I was just done with it because I had to take out the motherboard every 2 days, and eventually I broke the connection to the subboard, which means it couldn't charge anymore, which means I had to use wireless charging, which was really slow, ran hot, and was just not worth it. So eventually I just put it somewhere and was like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. It's not worth it anymore. I'll just use something else. I'm getting a new phone soon anyways. But in that time, I did really enjoy using that phone. And last week he gave me that phone back, except this time it had a huge, like, it looked like a gun almost shot through the screen. There was a giant just pressure mark in the display because if something fell on it. It was really destroyed. Same damage as before, except this time with a good motherboard and good subboard, but the display had 2 green lines in it, which was to be expected. I was so surprised that the display even worked at this point. I don't know if I have pictures of it. I do have a Telegram video of it, but yeah, that's the little dimple in the display right there. That was the damage. Wait, let me pause on that. And it still works. You can also see the green lights. The green lines. Yeah, it was insane that it still worked. The damage was so bad. But yeah, pretty insane that it still works. It was just missing a battery, but I did have the S9 battery. But it didn't want to charge because it had a really weird issue, which the S8 sometimes has, that the temperature sensor doesn't work. So it can't measure the temperature of the battery, which means it doesn't charge because it wants the temperature sensor of the battery to work for that. So that really did suck. That was the difference, because the other one was a dead motherboard straight up. Well, dying at least, and the other one just had You know, that issue that I just mentioned with the temperature sensor. So it wouldn't charge. If it would have charged, I would have kept the phone at least. But yeah, that original in the original condition, it was way better that he gave me that S8 because it did work. It actually worked for a few days. Actually, I used it as a music phone at my internship. I used it as a music phone like all day because I was going to do a battery health test anyway. So I was like, you know what, let's just use it all day for music, and it did completely fine. Headphone jack worked and everything. I used it all day. I'm not kidding. I used it from like 9 to 4, which is really long. That's like hours and hours. That's like 7 hours that I used that phone. So yeah, I did really appreciate it, especially since the AMOLED didn't have any burn-in or purple discoloration, nothing of that. The AMOLED was pretty much mint. It was just the display was destroyed, but yeah, now it's gone. I can't use it anymore, which is really sad. Because I kind of do miss that phone because it was funny. It was so destroyed. It had like a little piece of the back glass still left on it. It was like a little super shattered piece of back glass, and that was the only back material it had. I think no, it did have the charging coil and everything like that. But the battery stunk so much. The battery was the stinkiest thing ever. It smelled so badly, like glue, like the really bad phone glue that they use. It stinks. It really does stink. It's really yucky. And if you sniff it hard enough, it makes you high. I'm not kidding. So I did throw out the S8 battery because even if I kept it in a little cabinet, it would stink so much. It would still stink up the entire room here. So yeah, man, was I ever grateful that I threw that away eventually. But yeah, that was that S8. I did do a video on it, which I may link down below if I don't forget. But if I don't, then just search it up on my YouTube channel. It's worth it. It is a fun video, so go watch that. So what did I get this week then? Well, let's have a look. What is that? Looks like an A53, doesn't it? Well, yeah, it is an A53. Let me go back to the normal lens. There you go. This is a Samsung Galaxy A53. This is the phone that I considered getting before I got my M53, which I have right here. So if you ever wanted to see my M53 against the A53, there you go. You can judge for yourself which phone looks better. I think the M53 looks better, despite that the color on the A53 is actually really nice. I really do like this peach color. I don't know why. The blue looks pretty good too, but it's kind of generic. In my opinion, the A53 had a really generic design against the M53 that I have and the M33. But I definitely do like the design of this, how the panel just goes into the frame. Like the frame, it makes it look premium, despite that this is all plastic crap. As you can probably hear, there's not much in there. Let me show y'all. There's no battery. There's no battery in here. But there is a working motherboard in here. And this one is going to be smashed. And before you go type your angry comment, why are you going to destroy an A53? Such a good phone, so you can still sell it and stuff if you restore it. Broken AMOLED. Completely dead AMOLED. All it does is vibrate because there's no battery in there. But this little crack right here, which you may not have even seen before now, I'm showing you. I'm showing it right now, but if you didn't notice this before, yeah, that little crack right there, which my S20 doesn't even want to focus on, that's all it took to make the entire AMOLED go die, like completely. So this is going to be smashed. This is going to be smashed with a friend of mine. I'm not going to keep it. This is not worth saving. Why? My M53 is literally better. This thing has such a crappy processor in it, the Exynos 1280. With 6 gigs of RAM, it's really not worth saving. Apart from the nice color, like maybe if someone has a A53, I'm so used to saying M53. If anyone has it also feels less cheap than this. If anyone has a A53 and wants to color swap it, sure, give it to me. I'll do it in seconds with this, because the frame is like mint. I don't know how they kept the frame in this good condition. It barely has any nicks on it. Meanwhile, we don't talk about my M53. I always use it in the case. I always use this in the case. I promise you, always. Yet it's so scratched up. That's Samsung quality for you. They really don't they really don't think you deserve premium materials at 300 euros, which is a crime. But yeah, the display for the rest is fine. And he also had a A52, I think 5G, not sure, which I may get that to restore because it had a pretty much mint condition display. It had no issues with the display whatsoever, no cracks, no nothing. I really hope he keeps that in good condition, foreshadowing. Because the only problem with that phone was, well, by the way, it was a black A52 5G. The only problem with that phone was that the battery was broken. The battery itself has been punctured, so it doesn't work anymore. But it does show life. The AMOLED is completely fine. It does show the charging logo. It just stays stuck on there because the battery is broken. So if I'd buy, it does need a loudspeaker as well, and the little plastic part on the bottom it doesn't have. But if I buy that, along with a new cheapo AliExpress battery or whatever, and glue the back cover back on, I have a A52, you know? So I might consider getting that from him, but he did want to, I think he did want to restore that himself, along with a Google Pixel and a Google Pixel 4a. So I'm not 100% sure if he would give that to me, but if he would, I would at least try to replace it. Because I do think that that might be worth it, considering those parts are fairly low cost apart from the battery if you want a good one, but who cares? I'll just get a crappy AliExpress one. But yeah, this is going to be smashed. So next up, the phone that I actually do want to restore. Yeah, he gave this to me as well. This is a Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of edging jokes in the comments. Yay. This is a Galaxy S6 Edge, and it's missing the back panel, and it's missing the main camera, and it's missing the the front camera, and the ribbon cable, the connector for the earpiece is broken, but who cares? I mean, the back camera is kind of important, but the earpiece I'm never ever going to use. So the fact that the connector on the motherboard is broken for that, I don't care. I really don't care. I haven't plugged this in yet. Maybe this works, maybe this doesn't. I really hope it does. Really hope this does work, because I've never had an S6 Edge, ever. I have had a S6 from him before, but I didn't have that phone for long, because I put a custom ROM on there, and after that he sold it. So, yeah. That's how that story went. But yeah, this is a white S6 Edge, and it honestly looks pretty damn good, but the screen is incredibly damaged. I don't know if you can see this, but I've plugged in a charger now, sorry for that. But the display is really destroyed, as you can see. There's literally a piece of glass missing on the edge side of the display. But just looking at this, I don't think the display, the AMOLED itself is destroyed. And I do think that if this would give life, there would at least be a little LED at the top that it would be charging, you know? The A53, well, you also really wouldn't be able to see that this has AMOLED damage. I really can't tell, honestly. The little crack in the corner, that just caused the entire AMOLED to black out. Man, Samsung quality these days. I'm really glad I stepped away from Samsung as a main phone. But I have a good charger right here. I did plug it in at school and I didn't do anything, but that was with a damn Chromebook. That's not a good charger. So yeah, I really hope this works. I'm going to plug it in live here. But yeah, just to get a good look at that condition. Yeah, there's literally a piece of glass just completely missing from here. Really interested in how that'll go. But I can restore this. Maybe I can get an S6 with like missing parts, like a missing battery, for example, because I do have a battery in here. S6 Edge batteries are really weird, by the way, because the connector goes under the boards and then on the boards. It's like a bendy connector. It's super weird. No idea why these phones miss such random parts, by the way. Really don't ask me. I do ask my friend a lot, but I barely ever get a good answer for that. 99% of the time the speaker is missing. This S6 Edge is missing the speaker, I think, and it's also missing the headphone jack, but as you can see, the frame is actually in really good condition for what it is. It's also missing a SIM tray, of course, but that's no big deal. So, yeah. Without further ado, I think I'll just plug this in and see what happens. Not much. So, yeah. I'm not 100% sure if this will work because I don't know if the battery is even good. You know, the A52 had a bad battery. We did put some contact cleaner on the motherboard, and we did clean the well, we didn't clean it. We went with the heat gun over the motherboard in case anything was bad. But I do have a heat gun here as well, so if the motherboard is bad, I can always do that and see if it fixes this. I'll get my USB current meter out to see if it outputs any power. So interestingly, it doesn't actually seem to take any power whatsoever, which is kind of weird. It takes 0.05 amps. So yeah, it actually doesn't charge, which in my opinion is kind of a good sign, because that does mean that, there's a higher chance of the screen actually working, which is probably the most important thing for me. So if the screen doesn't work at all, this one really isn't worth restoring. If I would restore this, I would of course put a different screen on here, because it's not worth it. I'd probably just get another S6 Edge. But yeah, I like the S6 Edge because it's the first Samsung Galaxy S phone that had an Edge display. I don't know if the Note Edge was first or the S6 Edge. I think it was the Note. Yeah, it was a Note Edge, which are really expensive here, by the way. So there's no way I'm getting that. But this did actually try to charge itself when I immediately plugged it in, but it's not doing anything now. So that kind of sucks. I'll look into it. I'll try to fix this. But for now, that's all I'll have to show you. Maybe I'm getting more stuff soon. Not sure. I just wanted to get a quick, kind of messy video out of the way. No, it's a bit messy, but it's better than nothing, because I haven't been making many videos lately because of personal things, and also because I just haven't had that much interesting things to show y'all. But I hope you enjoyed this video regardless. Like if you want, subscribe if you want. I'm not begging you, only if you want and if you actually liked it. Most importantly, have an amazing day, and hopefully see you in the next video.